Hi everyone. So today we'll be discussing about the photosynthesis and especially the light reaction and dark reaction. Okay. So any doubts that you get, you can ask me doubts during the live session itself here in the chat box. And okay, so let me just check if I'm live here. Just a second. Alright, so before I start, let me introduce myself. I'm Vani Kari, biology educator at an academy. I'm an engineer with bachelor's and master's degree in biotechnology and a B.Ed degree. Also a founder of a startup where I grow microgreens by vertical farming technology. Okay. So join with us in Telegram. So for homework and class notes, you can join the channel Vani Kari ICSE class 9 and 10 biology and the Telegram channel of an academy ICSE and IC both. So this link you can find in the description. So go to the description box, find this link and you will also find the link of community, Bugs Bounty, some of these special classes. So any link that is mentioned over here, so you can find the links for those specific classes over this. Okay, I mean in the description box. So you can just find the links over there and click on the link to follow up. So now the special classes are conducted on the platform. So that is an academy platform. All you have to do is download the Unacademy Learners app. So that is from the Play Store. Okay, and you can enter your credentials there. So basically the special classes are conducted there by different educators, and now the different educators are coming up with a different theme based sessions. So you will have access to their sessions. So like they can also conduct some practice quizzes. So basically quizzes are conducted, or certain topic coverages can, like covering can be done, or diagram based question discussion can go on. So basically different educators are coming up with different themes. So you will have access to their classes, which are absolutely free classes. You can learn from your favorite educator for free. You can engage with educators via poll. So that means we'll be conducting the quiz also, where you can take part in, and you will know where exactly, like how much you need to concentrate on that particular chapter or a topic that is being discussed there. Because once you have your, like once you give your quizzes, so you will like realize that yes, I know this part and this part. So basically you can concentrate more on the one which you have, like, or one which you are getting confused. Okay, then clear your doubt in the live special classes. So there is a question tab available where you can type in your question, attach an image and send it to the educator during the live session. So they'll be getting a notification that the learner has asked the doubt and will be clearing your doubt. So now for the top special classes, you can visit the link in the description. So Unacademy subscription feature. So here, only a certain percentage of topics will be covered. So that is in special classes. In case of plus classes, okay, so 100% syllabus coverage will be done. So we'll be completing a whole syllabus. All right, you can learn live from the comfort of your home. Unlimited access to all the courses will be there. So these are, these classes are basically paid classes. Okay, so you need to have a subscription, and you can go on watching the sessions conducted by different educators. So you can attend the live sessions as well, or you have a even option to watch the recording. Okay, so in that case, unlimited access to all the courses. So different educators will come up with different courses, so you will have access to all the courses. Then top educators of India are going to take the classes in one platform. So that is an academy platform. Regular doubt clearing will be done. So after about every 3 sessions, the fourth session will be our doubt clearing session. So whatever doubts you have related to the topics that are previously covered, so you can clear your doubt in this doubt clearing session. Okay, then mentorship and guidance will be given. The study material will be given there. Okay, so that will be in the form of PDF itself. The practice tests are conducted, live test series are also conducted, and also you will have access to the batch courses. So we have a batch which is going on in English, and also we have a batch which is going on in English. So once you take the subscription, so it's not that you are restricted to attend only the classes in one batch. So you can take up the classes from both the batches as well. So that means you have access to both the batches. So depending on your comfort, you can go for both the batches or maybe one of them if you want, if you would like to choose. So this is completely your choice. And then there is a daily practice section, weekly mock test series conducted, live quizzes will be conducted, daily MCQ and subjective test series are also conducted. So this is the offer which is going on right now. So that is ICSE combo offer for class 10. Okay, and there are a lot of students who start their preparation early for different competitive exams, where you can start your preparation for class 10. Along with that, you can also start preparing for these competitive exams like JEE, NEET, as well as NTSE, so which is again a 1 year subscription, where the cost has been reduced from 39,676 to 35,708, and with the referral code, the code is VANIYT. Okay, so with this referral code, further you will be getting 10% discount on this amount. So this is the amount, so on this you will be getting further 10% discount. So can you see that? Just a second. Yeah, okay. All right then, so let's see this. And like, you know, basically for combo offer, so there is a link available, so you can find the link in the description. Only through that link you can go for this subscription. Okay, so through the app anyway this is not possible, or if you do not find the link also, so you can just me ask, or like, you know, you can just ask me on my Telegram as well. Okay, so there I can send you the links. So Unacademy plus subscription plans for ICSE class 10, so that is at an affordable price. So let's say you just want to try like how exactly this works, so you can go with 3 months or maybe 6 months of subscription. Okay, and usually I suggest you all to go with 12 months of subscription, because a complete, like, you know, your complete academic year can be covered. And with that, basically, if you are going for 12 months of subscription, so you will be getting class 11 and class 12 subscription absolutely free along with that. So in the meanwhile, you can prepare for your class 11 and 12 also right now itself. Okay, so then, you know, so basically for 12 months it is 19,838, but with the referral code again, so this is VANIYT. Okay, so with this code, further 10% discount you will be getting on this specific amount. Okay, so you can go for the higher months also. So that is if you have planned well like how to go about this, so you can, you know, so you can just go for higher months of subscription as well. So usually I recommend you all to go with 12 or maybe more as well, so that you will get the other benefits which are associated with that. Okay, so now let's get started with the photosynthesis. So let me just check this once. Just a second. Okay, so where exactly do you think the photosynthesis occurs? Where does photosynthesis occurs? No idea? No idea where photosynthesis occurs? Okay. So photosynthesis is basically a process of food preparation in case of plant. So this is just a simple language that we use a process where the plant prepares food for itself. Okay, so what is that food? What food is prepared by the plant? So it is, the plant produces the glucose, or it prepares the glucose in itself, and this glucose which is produced, okay, this glucose is the one which will be later on used by the different processes in an organism. So glucose is a requirement. Okay, so now only difference in case of plants and animals is that they are preparing the glucose in their body, so that is by photosynthesis process. We are not preparing the glucose, okay, because glucose we are consuming. So how we are eating plant, we are eating animals, so we are basically getting the glucose that way as well. So basically a carbohydrate will be there. So we are not preparing the whole of a glucose in our body itself, which is a 6 carbon compound. So we do not have that chlorophyll to trap the sunlight, and to basically the chlorophyll, which is a green pigment, so to make out like lot of different processes that are happening. So that is not there in an animal body. And the speciality, or why we call these plants as the primary producers, we call them as primary producers, because only the plants have got this capacity where they can trap the sunlight. So that is the chloroplast containing chlorophyll. So chlorophyll is the pigment, so that is the one which is trapping the sunlight, and the energy absorption occurs, and that energy is the one which will be used up, so that is in synthesizing the glucose. So how exactly the plant is getting the energy for, like, very beginning for the synthesis of food, it is getting the energy from the sunlight, and then yes, there is a ATP synthesis also that is done. So energy synthesis occurs, so that is by cellular respiration. So here autotrophs, organisms that produce their own food, and that process we call as photosynthesis. So photosynthesis is the process through which the green plants convert carbon dioxide. So last class I was discussing that respiration in plant where the oxygen is taken in and carbon dioxide is left out. Here what is happening? So the photosynthesis process is absolutely, like, opposite to a respiration process, where you can see that the carbon dioxide is basically taken, okay, so that is taken in, and also the water is required, and you can see there is a formation of a glucose as the product of the photosynthesis. So that is in the presence of sunlight. So let's see here. So let's say there is a tree. Just a second, I'll explain you this. So there is a tree, okay, and this is all root nerve, and this particular tree, what is there? Okay, so where exactly? So let's say here one leaf also we can show. So just for the reference as such, here is the leaf. Okay, so now what exactly is happening? The water absorbed, so the water moves through the xylem vessel, okay, and then it reaches the midrib. So here the stalk is there, and this is the midrib. So midrib is also having a xylem. So each and every part of the plant body, okay, so that is mainly the leaf. So there are n number of cells here. So it's not that only one cell is there. So there are n number of cells. So each of them have to receive the water, and xylem is the one which is supplying that water here. So water is anyway available, so which is basically taken from the root itself. So this is root, and from the root itself the water is absorbed. Then there is a trapping of sunlight which will be done. So let's say the sunlight is available here, okay, and you can see, so let's see, this is the sun over here. So there is a sunlight which will be available. So now the sunlight falls here on the cells. So these cells which are containing the chloroplast, so they are going to absorb that sunlight. So one product is the, one of the reactant which is required is water. Then in the presence of sunlight and in the presence of chlorophyll, through the stomata. So let's talk about the stomata. So through the stomata, the carbon dioxide is also taken in. So now you know these are all the raw material that is required. So this is the raw material. This is the raw material that is required in the presence of sunlight and the chlorophyll. So we'll be getting the product. So what is the product now? So oxygen release you can find. Okay, and basically you can find a glucose. Main agenda of photosynthesis is synthesis of glucose. So glucose synthesis, oxygen release is done, and also there is a water that can be released. Okay, so let's have a look at this. So there is a carbon dioxide which will be taken in, water is taken in, there is a synthesis of glucose and then the oxygen. Okay, so importance of photosynthesis. So what is the importance of this photosynthesis? So it is the primary source of food on earth, right? So how is it a primary source of food on earth? Any idea? So without this, would there be any food available? So be it a vegetarian or a non-vegetarian. Okay, so you know, in non-vegetarian also in some or the other way, yes, he is also depending on the plant for food. Okay, because the animal that he or she is consuming, so that animal is the one which might be eating a plant again. All right, so in that case we all require the plants, which is basically a primary source of food on the earth. Okay, so green plants release oxygen, so that is into atmosphere as byproduct. So that is with respect to the photosynthesis process. Okay, so in thylakoid membrane, so you can see this lot of changes that are going to occur. So oxygen released by green plants, so this comes from water and not from the carbon dioxide. So what is this one? So let's say water is here, the carbon dioxide is here, glucose is being synthesized, and there is a oxygen release, that is that. So whatever oxygen that we are getting, so this oxygen is basically coming from water itself. Okay, so this is coming from water, but not from the carbon dioxide, is what it is mentioned there, because photolysis of water is the one which is releasing this particular oxygen there. Okay, so there is a photolysis of water can be seen. So site of photosynthesis, where exactly does this occur? So photosynthesis occurs in chloroplast, which contain chlorophyll. Okay, so there is a chloroplast, and that chloroplast contains the chlorophyll. So let me just draw it here. So now you know this one is the chloroplast. Okay, so chloroplast, when we mention, so chloroplast is a double membrane structure. Okay, so this chloroplast is a double membrane structure, so that means we can just draw one more membrane structure, and here inside this you can find a disc like structures over there. So this one is the disc like structure that you can find. Okay, so as such you can find many of the disc like structures there. Okay, so these are disc like structures that you can find, and you know they are in turn connected by the lamellae. So this is one is the stroma lamellae there. Okay, so now you know, since we are talking about the chloroplast here, just a second. Just a second. So is there a network issue? Just a second. Let me just check this. think there is some issue with the network. Okay. So anyway, so there is a chloroplast. So chloroplast, when we mention is, it is a double membrane structure. Okay. So there is the outer membrane and there is the inner membrane. So this one is the grana, and this one of it. So this is the one which is having the chlorophyll here. Okay. So let me just fill it completely instead of just highlighting this. Just a second. Yeah. So now this will be completely of chlorophyll. So this will be filled with the chlorophyll there. Okay. So now not just the top part but the whole part. Like you can see, this is the part. Here is the part. So this is all filled with the chlorophyll there. Okay. So this will completely be chlorophyll. And since the plant is the only organism that is having a chlorophyll, and the chlorophyll is the one which is having a capacity, or we can say absorption capacity of the sunlight, so that is provided to the chlorophyll there, and hence we are all getting food that is mainly through the plant there. Okay, so now in this case, let me just label this part, whatever I have written, so I'll just label this. So now individual unit. So this is the individual unit here. So let me just take the different colors so that you can understand. Okay, so this is the individual unit. So that is the thylakoid here. Okay, so there are stack of thylakoids that you can find. So these are all stack of thylakoids, and these thylakoids, when we mention, so these are basically disc-like structure. So this part is a thylakoid, and now you can see the whole set. Okay, so this one we call as the granum. Okay, and the plural term is grana. So grana because the plural, so I'll just write it, plural here is grana. So why grana? Like because this is one set, this is one set, so like this there are many sets will be there, many sets of disc like structure, so that is thylakoid will be there. So this is granum. So now both of them together, grana we can mention. Okay, so now this one can be called as a fret, or this can even be mentioned as the stroma lamellae or stromal lamellae as well. So this is a stroma lamellae. Okay, and the ground substance has to be there. So there is a ground substance which you can find. One second again. Yeah, so now this space what you find here, so this complete space what you find here, so this is all a ground substance itself. So this is completely a ground substance which is found in here. So this ground substance, when we mention, so this is basically here also a lot of reactions. Here also you can find the chloroplast, when we mention, so they have their own DNA, that is genetic material, and also they have their own ribosome also, which is required for the photosynthesis, I mean protein synthesis. Let me just complete this. So basically you can find this to be a stroma. So stroma will be there, which is completely covering this part, which is a ground substance in fact. So this ground substance is where all the suspended chemicals you can find. So that is like DNA, like protein synthesis, different processes that are occurring. So since it is having its own ribosome, so let me just show you this. Yeah, so it is having its own DNA. Just a second. Yeah, so what is wrong? Oh, I took the other color. Okay, so there you can find a DNA, and throughout you can find ribosomes also. Okay, so there are a lot of ribosomes that you can find, so which does the function of protein synthesis. So let me just say this one is the ribosome. This one is, so this is a stroma. Okay, so this is stroma. Alright, so together we call this as a grana. So now where exactly the light reaction and the dark reaction occurs? So the dark reaction and the light reaction. So light dependent reaction is there, light independent. So light reaction occurs here in the thylakoid. Okay, so that is mainly the light reaction. So let me just write here. So the light reaction occurs here in the grana, or the thylakoid. And now you know this is a stroma. So stroma part you can find there is a dark reaction that is occurring. Okay, so where the product are later on anyway they'll be combined. So let's have a look at this. Photosynthesis occurs in chloroplasts that contain chlorophyll. So chloroplasts are present in the parenchymatous cells of the leaf mesophyll. So what is that parenchymatous cells of the leaf mesophyll? So let's see here itself. So there is this upper epidermis. Okay. So this, okay, just a second. Okay. So now you know there is upper epidermis. So this upper epidermis is basically having many cells as such. Okay. Then you can find there is a layer of a cuticle that is covering. So you can find a palisade mesophyll there. So there is a palisade mesophyll, and then you can find the spongy mesophyll as well. So there is a spongy mesophyll that you can find. All right, so with respect to this, okay, so all these are parenchymatous cells. So there is a lower epidermis, we can just show it like this as well. So there is a lower epidermis with the stomata over here. Okay, so now you know again there is a cuticle. So cuticle is actually secreted by the epidermal cells itself. So now you know all of these cells which are here in the leaf, because this is the section of a leaf that I'm drawing here. So now all the chloroplasts that are there here, okay, and you know they will be performing the photosynthesis. So what is mentioned here? Photosynthesis occurs in chloroplasts that contain chlorophyll. So chloroplasts are present in the parenchymatous cells of the leaf mesophyll. So this is the leaf mesophyll part. Okay, so this is the mesophyll part, and this one what you see, the longer cells, so these are palisade mesophyll, and this part what you see, so this is a spongy mesophyll cells. Okay, so palisade and spongy mesophyll cells can be found in there. So let's have a look at the two main phases of the photosynthesis, that is light dependent phase and light independent phase. So light dependent phase, when we mention, just a second, okay, so light dependent phase is a photochemical phase. Okay, first step in case of light dependent or the photochemical phase is that, you know, this occurs in the thylakoid. So you already know that the thylakoid is the one which is having the chlorophyll there. Okay, so now activation of the chlorophyll will be done. So that is by absorbing the sunlight, and once that is done, so there is an energy release that will be done. So by that splitting up of water, so that is photolysis we call. Okay, so photolysis of water that occurs. So this absorbed energy is used in splitting the water molecule into two of the components. So there is a hydrogen ion that is produced, there are electrons that are produced, and there is a release of oxygen. So this is the equation which is given in your book, so you can just write it as such. Okay, so first step being the activation of chlorophyll, where the chlorophyll absorbs the maximum amount of sunlight, and you know as the light gets absorbed, so electrons get excited there. Okay, so the excited electron will move from the ground state to the next level, and while they return back to their normal ground state, so there is a release of energy which will be done, and that energy is the one which will be used in splitting up of water. So water lysis or photolysis. Okay, so photo, using the photo, that is light, lysis of water is occurring. So that is why we call this process as a photolysis process, where splitting up of water molecule occurs. So once the split up of water molecule occurs, so you can see here the protons are there. So let me just show you this, just a second. Yeah, so here you can find there is a production of photon. What is happening? One just second. Yeah, all right, so now you know there are hydrogen ions which are produced, there are electrons that are produced. I am unable to write. Okay, So there are protons, I mean hydrogen ions produced, electron produced. So these are used as a product in a light independent reaction there. So let's have a look at this. So reaction is known as photolysis, which means that splitting up by the light. Okay, so splitting up by the light, photo is equal to light, lysis is breaking. Okay, so photolysis is defined as the splitting of water molecule into hydrogen ion and oxygen, that is in the presence of light and grana. So now end result of product of photolysis. So what do we get? All right, so now you know the hydrogen ions are picked up by the compound. So once the hydrogen ion is produced by the photolysis process, okay, so that hydrogen will be picked up here in forming this nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide phosphate to form a NADPH. So that is one hydrogen ion is added there. Okay, so the oxygen component is given out as a molecular oxygen, so that is oxygen release will be done. The electron which is there, so that will be used in converting ADP into ATP as well, that is by adding one phosphate group, and there is formation of ATP that can be seen. So this is the overall reaction. So you can see that the product obtained from photolysis is obtained here. The product obtained from photolysis is again taken here. So basically photolysis is so important, and you see that all the living organisms are respiring because the plant is releasing oxygen. Otherwise there wouldn't be any source of oxygen as such. So now you know the oxygen is also obtained. So you know this photosynthesis process is much more of significance, and this is a must process in all the plants, and that is how the different other organisms can survive. So here into energy rich compound ATP, that is adenosine triphosphate, by adding one phosphate group Pi, so ADP plus inorganic phosphate is going to form a ATP. So this process is called as phosphorylation. So what is phosphorylation? That is synthesis of ATP from ADP and inorganic phosphate. So that is called as a phosphorylation. Since it has occurred in the presence of light, so we see, you can see, since the energy used in this process comes from the light, that is photons, so the process is termed as the photophosphorylation. So in case of light independent reaction, what occurs? So this can also be called as a biosynthetic phase. Right, so this is a biosynthetic phase. So the new term light independent phase, or the old term basically dark phase, did not mean that it occurs when it is dark, and that's the reason they have removed the dark reaction or a dark phase. Instead this is named as a light independent phase itself, or a biosynthetic. So photochemical pathway or photochemical phase, biosynthetic phase. Okay, so now you know it only meant that the reactions are not depending on light, so that is why it is now better to call it light independent phase. Okay, so the reaction in this phase do not require light energy, and that is the reason it was like, you know, just to contrast, they use the term for dark instead of light. But you know, lot of people thought that, like, you know, even now lot of learners think that light reaction will occur in the presence of light, dark reaction will occur in the presence of dark. No, I mean not in the presence, in dark. Okay, so not exactly. So basically in light, in presence of light, the light reaction occurs. The dark reaction or the light independent reaction, so that can also occur in the daytime, during daytime itself. Only difference is that it does not require the light is not at all required for the dark reaction to occur, and that's why now this is called as a light independent phase or a biosynthetic phase. Hi Parikal, good evening. Hi Jalpan. So this is basically you can concentrate on these light independent, light dependent, the factors affecting photosynthesis, external factor, internal factors, and all the experiments are important. Okay, so all the experiment which are mentioned here in photosynthesis, so they can give a diagram based question on it, or otherwise so they can also give like a long answer type. So if it is anyway multiple choice if you are having, so in that case just study everything. So that is basically the experiments, the factors affecting and the structure of chloroplast. So in diagram it is structure of chloroplast that you need to know, and where light reaction occurs, where dark reaction occurs, and what is the product. So that all you need to know. Okay. Alright, so the reaction in this phase do not require light energy and they occur simultaneously with the light reaction. So you can see here, it is not that the dark, in the dark only it is occurring. So this light independent reaction or the dark reaction what we call, so this also occurs during the daytime itself. Only thing is that the light is not required for this reaction. Okay, so that is time gap between the two being less than even 1,000 of a second. So within a fraction of seconds this occurs. So what exactly is happening? So conversion of glucose into starch and other chemicals. Okay, so basically starch formation occurs there, so that we call as the polymerization. So many units of glucose are joined together and there is a formation of starch which will be done. So that means more than 10 units of glucose have to be there. Then we call this as a polysaccharide, which is basically several glucose molecules are transferred to produce one molecule of a starch, and this process we call as the polymerization process. So some plants change glucose to sucrose, then basically cane sugar which is chemically is called a disaccharide or a double sugar, or some into soils, or oils also this can be produced. So different ways of storage is done. In case of plant, the formation of starch is occurring. So in the case of humans or in case of animals or fungi, the storage material or the reserve food is what? It is glycogen. But in case of plant it is the starch, and this starch can be stored in the fruit, it can be stored in the seeds, it can be stored in the tubers. Okay, so it can even be stored in the leaves. So depending on the requirement, so basically storage of excess amount of glucose will be done in the form of a starch itself. Okay, so that will be done in the plant. Chemical coordination in plant. So chemical coordination, you have to know the tropic movement, like which is positively geotropic, negatively geotropic is mentioned. Then different hormones. So different hormone, that one table they have given to, that is summary of the different phytohormones which are there. So that if you read, so that would be more than enough. So you just have to like know some examples there, like what exactly is happening when the auxin hormone is given. So what is the role of auxin hormone, gibberellin hormone, and there are different hormones. So ethylene is there, abscisic acid is there, cytokinin. So which one is a promoter, which one is a inhibitor, which acts as both promoter and inhibitor. So these hormones, their function, are they promoting, are they inhibiting? So that function you need to know, and what is the application of these hormones. Okay, so that summary which is given, so that would be sufficient. Like what is parthenocarpy process, that you need to know. Other than that, the tropic movement. Okay, so in tropic movement, just know like what is the definition of tropic movement, which is like it is given positively geotropic, negatively geotropic, for positively phototropic, negatively phototropic for a root and a shoot which is mentioned. So that you can just make a note of. Okay, so there are no specific experiments. So the experiment what they have given, so they are like just for your reference. So just the hormones and the tropic movement if you know, so that would be sufficient. Okay, so this is a highly simplified summary. So where you can see that using the light, the water split up occurs. So these are produced, the protons, electrons and the oxygen. Oxygen is given out where we different animals respire, and the different organisms also. So the proton, the H ion which is obtained, so that will be used in forming a NADPH. This electron which is released, so that will be used in the formation of ATP, so that is phosphorylation. So now these are the products of the light dependent reaction. So now this NADPH and ADP are used up, that is by using the carbon dioxide, where the glucose formation occurs and all that glucose will be converted, like not all of it, required amount of glucose will be used up by the plant body. Excess amount of glucose, what is it? So all that can be converted into starch and it will be stored in the plant body. So this is a top of fact. So that is, while most of the plants prepare their food, that is by photosynthesis. So there are some parasitic species, okay, and they are exemption to this. So basically they are heterotrophic, okay. So holoparasites, hemiparasites, so that means they do not have a chlorophyll and therefore they are taking the nourishment from the major plant, the one plant which is surviving there, okay. So you can see there is a tree over here. So on this tree you can see this runner growing. So that means it is anyway not having a chlorophyll, so it cannot perform photosynthesis. So it is taking the nourishment from the other tree or a plant there. So hemiparasite is what? They have the ability to synthesize their own food, okay. That is only to some extent. However, they still derive resources from the host plant. So since they are growing associated with the other plant, so they take up the nourishment from the parent plant itself. But anyway, they have the chloroplast and they can synthesize the food there. So those are called as hemiparasites. So this is basically a heterotrophic plant. So these are an exceptions, or otherwise all the plant that we talk of, so they are all autotroph. So this is heterotrophic. So heterotrophic because they do not synthesize their own food, so they are taking the nourishment from different organisms. Alright, so before I end this session, so let me just see about the batches that we have. So we have a gladiators batch. So this one is a all subject batch, okay. And here in this batch, any doubts you guys have? Any of you? Are you having any doubts other than this? Alright. Okay then. So basically there is a gladiators batch. So this one is a all subject batch for ICSE class 10 and this started on July 6th, but yes, you can watch the recording which is available. There are many more sessions which are yet to go live, so you can take up the live session. And here the mode of delivery is English, okay. So if you are subscribing for class 10, so you will be getting class 11 and 12 subscription absolutely free. PCMB will be covered, maths, physics, chemistry and biology will be covered here in this batch. So same way we have a Titans batch which started on 14th of July and the mode of delivery here is English, okay. So same way maths, physics, chemistry and bio will be covered. So if you are subscribing for class 10, you will be getting class 11 to 12 subscription absolutely free along with this. And that's the reason I usually mention, like you all to go for 12 months of subscription, because complete class 10 if you are taking a subscription, so you will be getting class 11 and 12 subscription also free there. And start your preparation early, so that is along with your class 10 you can now prepare for JEE, NEET as well as NTSC. And the cost, the combo offer, because the combo offer is there, so the cost has been reduced. So the cost has been reduced from 39,676 to 35,708 and the referral code is VANIYT. So this is the code, okay. So with this code you will be getting 10% discount on the subscription. Alright. So now introducing community. So never miss on any update from your favorite educators. So here get session notes and practice material. So share your feedback directly with the educators via poll. So there is a question that he has asked. So the oxygen in glucose is obtained. Oxygen in glucose. So glucose synthesis which is occurring. So that is basically, the oxygen is photolysis of water occurs. Okay. so that oxygen goes out. Okay, so carbon dioxide is working there. So carbon dioxide along with the energy, so there are a lot of carbon dioxide, so 6 of the carbon dioxide are used up, and there is a formation of a glucose by using the NADH and also the ATP. Okay, so that means basically, as you can see, the oxygen which is there in the glucose, it is all coming from the carbon dioxide itself, because under the carbon dioxide, so if you are asking about the oxygen which is left out, okay, that is coming from the water, so due to photolysis of water, but the oxygen which is there in the glucose, so that is coming from the carbon dioxide. So water is leaving a oxygen. Okay, so that is photolysis. So there the oxygen which is released in the photosynthesis process, so that is coming from water. Okay, so it is not coming from the carbon dioxide there. Okay. Alright, so never miss on any update from your favorite educator. So get session notes and practice material. So share your feedback directly with the educators via poll. So you can find the link to the educator community below here in the description. So Bugs Bounty, opportunity for all learners to report any inappropriate content in the video. So be the first one to report a particular issue to claim your prize. Report any inappropriate content using the form in the description. So any of you, any doubt you have, you can join in my Telegram channel, and that is Vani Kari ICSE class 9 and 10 biology, and any doubt that you have, you can ask me there as well. Okay, so subscribe to our channel, that is Unacademy ICSE and ISC both. Click on bell icon to get notified about the session. Like and share the video with your friends, and download the Unacademy Learners app now. Okay, so this PDF, if you need, I can send it on my community or the Telegram, so you can just send me a message there, like you need a particular note, so that I'll be sending them. Okay, all right then, so see you all in the next session. Bye bye everyone, take care.